Hello, it's James from XRobots.co.uk. This is part 2 of laser blasting. So there's a lot of information in part 1. The main aim of this project is to build a blaster prop which has a visible laser beam that shoots out just like in the movies. You can buy some high power lasers these days, but they're quite dangerous and you can actually use them for etching and cutting. So basically I want to stick to using low power laser pointers like these. You can buy these for between £3 and £5 on eBay or Amazon. They're quite bright, but obviously the beam that comes out isn't bright enough to be visible in daylight. So there's a bit of discussion in the first video, but the main aim is to produce some vapour in the air. So if you see lasers in a nightclub, they're typically shining through smoke generated by a fog or a smoke machine, and then you can see the beam through the particles in the air. However, we basically said that we don't want to use anything that has specialised fuel or is dangerous for some other way, so I looked at CO2 jets, but obviously they get very cold and there's lots of high pressures involved. So, how are we going to do it? Last time I showed you this container of water, and inside is one of those ultrasonic misters which are used for ornamental reasons. It's basically an ultrasonic speaker, if you like, which uses ultrasonic sound waves to break up the surface of the water and create mist. So if we just plug that in, you can see that it very quickly generates quite a lot of water vapour. And now if we shine our laser through there, we can kind of see the visible beam. So all of this was in the first video. Have another look for all of the information. The basic plan is to use this as a basis to generate vapour, which we're going to pump out through this tube, and then we're going to have a series of laser pointers mounted on the top that shine through the vapour. So I've already got the top of this container that hopefully already has a hole in, and I've mounted some plumbing accessories onto it. The connectors I've got here are actually shower traps for the bottom of a shower unit, some other plumbing pipe, and I've got some 40mm clear acrylic pipe that I got off eBay. So now we've got a way to pump air in and push the vapour out, so it comes out of this tube here. So if we can imagine this being a blaster, the shape of this lends itself quite well to being a movie blaster because it's got this nice grip on the front. So if you can imagine holding it there and having the trigger behind, and then having a very long barrel that points out this way and various other bits and pieces stuck on to make it look like a blaster. So I've got a fan that I need to mount on effectively the air intake there. But for now I can blow in there and the vapour comes out. So let's see what that looks like. So let's have a look at these laser pointer modules. So I've actually got 3 of these which I'm going to cluster together to make 3 laser beams. They've got a switch on the side, and in the body they run from 2 AAA batteries, so they run on 3 volts. The battery compartment's just a metal tube, and then in the actual laser part itself there's a spring which is a negative terminal and the outside which is positive. And the switch is on this part, so we can just tape that down or fix it down and we can power them from 3 volts. So let's just connect this onto there. Be careful not to short them out. And we should find that works fine. So basically we can power all 3 from this regulator. They draw about 200 milliamps each, and the regulator's a 2 amp regulator. So I just need to make a piece of plastic to mount these up. The other thing is we also need to mount this fan, which is slightly bigger than 40mm, so we need to make an adapter to attach it to the 40mm pipe. So I've printed 2 parts. One is this fan holder, which adapts the fan to go into 40mm plumbing pipe. So that'll plug in there. I've left 2 holes in here which I can cover up, which means that basically I can tune the airflow, so depending on how much air I want from this fan we can cover some of the holes. We can also probably run the fan slower with the PWM driver. The other piece I've printed is this, which is to hold the 3 laser pointers. So they cunningly just fit in there. And actually that holds the switch down as well. So obviously I don't need the battery compartment, I just need this part, but each one will fit in there. Push in and the switch will be held down, so now I can just wire those all in and they'll constantly have the lasers showing. So let's do some wiring for those. So I've got all three of those wired in now. Let's just power those up. Yep, looks pretty good. So let's put it all together and see what we've got. So that seems to work relatively well. I may well need to 3D print a special end for the tube to direct the vapour, possibly in a better jet than I've got at the moment. The other plan is to paint all these pieces black, so we've got sort of a black and clear theme going on. There'll also be some other pieces. Obviously there's no barrel at all for this at the moment, we've just got the lasers sat on top. The plan is to have lots of 3D printed sections to make up the barrel of the actual blaster and all the other pieces with lots of blue LEDs and things like that. So we're going to kind of have a black and clear and blue theme going on. So in terms of electronics, the ultrasonic mister actually runs on 24 volts, but I've got one of these which is it's a car adapter that does 12 up to 24 volts as an inverter. So basically at 12 volts it draws about an amp, which means I can run that on one of these little batteries and that works fine. As I mentioned before, I've got my 3 volt regulator for the lasers, and then I just need 12 volts for the fan. So there'll be a microcontroller that controls everything, and that's going to sort of sequence the blasting sequence. So it sort of generates mist, then blue lights light up on top or something like that, then the fan runs, and then the lasers pulse. So it's just like an actual blaster. There's a couple of soundboard reviews in my channel, so it's also going to play all sorts of sounds which I'm going to generate with an analog modelling synth, so I'm actually going to make my own blaster sounds. So look out for part 3, make sure you like my Facebook page and subscribe to my channel for sneak peeks and updates. You can also see more details on my website, pictures, links and words. The link is in the description to this video.